Hello, everyone. Onegaishimasu. Hope everyone's very well tonight. Tonight I'll read Shokushu number 21, Setsudo. There is no selfish person who fulfills the way of the universe. If you awaken to the principles and way of the universe, you are given the responsibility from the universe to share them throughout the world. Do not say that you don't have the strength to help people. If you have this experience one day, you are already a teacher for that experience. The next day, the world is full of people who are lost and are suffering from an unhealthy mind. Let us share this awakening with others with all our hearts. And while we're on the subject, I'd like to point out that number 21, Setsudo, comes right after number 20 in Toku. And as I think Tracy Reasoner Sensei was pointing out the other night, none of this is by accident, the sequence of these shokushu. And in Toku, he talks about doing good in secret, or in other words, doing good without expecting any kind of reward. Doing good meaning helping others. He said the very highest way the highest way of doing good without expecting a reward is supporting the practice of other people. And then it goes right into, and there's no selfish people that can do that. Right? So what is this awakening he talks about? If you awaken to the principles and way of the universe, what is that awakening? That awakening is turning about in the deepest seat of consciousness. It's turning away from gathering for ourselves and turning toward supporting others in their practice or in their learning, right? So I think this is maybe not always understood. Tonight we're going to discuss the 5 principles of learning. And I want to point out that Toi Sensei, the old translation, called it the 5 principles of learning key, but that's not what Toi Sensei said. The word key is not in the title. He said the 5 principles of learning, which I think is very significant because it's very broad. I think as the further he gets along in the shokushu, the less he is locked into a certain frozen or strict or restricted way of seeing the principles that he's talking about. These principles are for all of us, for everyone in the world, not just Aikido people. How to help others is for all of us. And we can always help others. The very first day, we learn what? To help others. When we learn the principle of supporting others in their work, in their learning. So that's what an instructor is, see. So that's going to play a big part in our discussion tonight. So I thought I'd spend a little bit of time pointing that out. So before we do our discussion, though, let's practice some key breathing. Okay, so feet on the floor and sit upright. The 5 principles of learning. So before we begin with them in English, let's ask Sayaka Reasoner to read them in Japanese. Sayaka, please.
の学習の原則。1、素直であること。2、飽きずに続ける。3、日常の工夫。4、潜在意識を変える。5、指導者たる心がけ。
Thank you very much. Very nice. Okay, so we have 5 principles, old translation, 5 principles, new translation. First principle, old translation, be obedient. First principle, new translation, be open. Second principle, old translation, persevere. Second principle, new, continue your study without becoming bored. 3, old, practice in daily life. 3, new, practice daily. 4, old, change the subconscious mind. 4, new, change your subconscious mind. 5, teach what you have learned. And 5, new, have the mind of an instructor. Okay, so this time they're very, very different. What was said originally and what was translated originally and then what Doi Sensei actually said. And I think that even though, well, maybe be obedient is kind of I don't know how they got that out of be open. Seems like maybe the opposite to me, but then persevere, that's fine. Please persevere. But and maybe to different people that means a different thing. So I think Toi Sensei wanted to say, which is why he said the whole thing out, continue your study without becoming bored. So be open, I think speaks for itself. And then number 2, continue study without becoming bored. So this is the process of, the study is the process of learning, right? So we're talking about learning here. So in order to learn something, we have to have a beginner's mind. We have to have a mind that is empty, not a mind that is full of stuff, a mind that is empty, open, free, able to be filled with new information. So in other words, this is a mind of all possibility. So when you consider becoming bored, that means that you're full up. You don't have any room for anything else. You don't have a beginner's mind. You don't have a mind that has infinite possibilities. So all the new things that are being offered to you in this learning process have nowhere to go in you. There's no way for you to accept them, to learn from them, to benefit from them. Even if the teacher is who's helping you is, remember I said now that the process of teaching or instructing is serving or supporting or giving yourself over to the other person to support their effort in learning. So what are you learning? What you're learning is to do that. What we're learning is to stop thinking only of ourselves, stop thinking in a small way, thinking only, looking only for things in life and in the learning process that benefit me, and open to whatever the possibilities are in every moment. And of course, when we learn to follow the way, that's what we're really learning. Following the way is to live for the benefit of others. When we learning to follow the way includes everything that arises in every moment. So maybe we're not just giving ourselves over to support other people, but to support everything, and in a way to actually support ourselves for the first time in our life. So that's the learning process. And there won't be any boredom if we're actually engaged in it. Practice daily. We always like to say practice in daily life. Of course, that's a no-brainer. We want to do that. That's why the person added that in. But that's not what Doi Sensei said. He said practice daily, which means practice every day. I hear people say, gosh, sitting for 1 hour in the morning, every morning, That's just so much. Well, it's all relative, folks. When I got out of my 3-year retreat where I sat 8 hours every day and came to Maui and met Suzuki Sensei, and he said, if you want to be like this, you must breathe 1 hour every day. I was like, whoa, all right, this is really great. I only have to sit 1 hour a day. So it all depends on your perspective. You know, we have to open ourselves to all possibilities. So that just happened that I had been through that experience. So, you know, maybe it's I don't mean to be patting myself on the back. It still wasn't easy even to do what Suzuki Sensei wanted me to do. I still had to learn, but just the idea of how we resist having to do something different in our life that is demanding. This is interesting. So please practice daily. And number 4, change your subconscious mind. We've covered that quite a bit lately. Subconscious mind. Drip, drip, drip. Every thought, every word, every action, every perception, everything that takes place goes into our subconscious mind. And when it goes into our subconscious mind, it looks for its buddies. It looks for creatures that are similar to it. And when it finds them, it gathers them together. It snuggles up with the family and forms a structure. And that structure, because there's a lot of history in it now, has power and influence. And it can control the way we think and the way we act and the way we perceive things and the way we speak in the next moment. So whatever we do, whatever we say, whatever we think, whatever we perceive, however we treat, whatever arises in our life is what we're going to be doing tomorrow, because it either builds up assumptions and beliefs that are in our subconscious mind, or it frees us of assumptions and beliefs and allows us to be open to all the possibilities. That's learning, folks. So and part of the process of learning, as he says, changing your subconscious mind. Because the subconscious mind is filled with things that you think you know. It's going to be very difficult to put other things in there, to change the nature of the subconscious mind so that it's then serving a life of service. It's serving a life of supporting others so that someday you can be a decent, useful human being. You don't even have to be an instructor. In Aikido, yes, maybe you'll be instructor, but in other areas, just a decent human being. And the last one, have the mind of an instructor. And so I've kind of already sort of covered that. My view is the mind of an instructor is not the mind of someone who tells other people things, who teaches other people things they don't know, who teaches people about things. It's much more direct than that. And it's a true instructor. I said before, it doesn't just inform, but inspires. And that means that a true instructor is supporting everyone, helping everyone to learn how to support others. That's what we're doing. It's really simple, folks. I have people tell me all the time that it's so hard to understand what I'm teaching, what Toi Sensei taught us. No, it's not difficult to understand. It's very simple. Forget yourself and live for other people. At least in this theater, at least in this venue, at least when you're performing, when you're carrying on the responsibility of learning and following and guiding, all one thing, in Aikido, which is where we are. Then let's learn to do this for each other, not just for ourselves, not just to harvest and take and benefit. And one other thing about this is, just like if you want to learn, just let me put that differently. Just like if you want to be a teacher, you can't set yourself up as an expert, because no one wants to learn from an expert. And number two, when you're learning then to be, when you're a student and you're learning, you cannot also imagine that you are an expert. This is beginner's mind. So student has beginner's mind, teacher has beginner's mind. Everyone has beginner's mind. Okay, so I'd like to hear now what you have to say about these 5 principles of learning. Would someone like to speak?
Yes, Sensei.
Please speak.
Good evening, Sensei. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for this precious opportunity. It really is a great opportunity to be able to have a discussion with you and meditate with you and get these teachings from you. So I'm very, very grateful. And to the community who supports this. I hope I can put this in accurate words to express myself, but number 3, practice in daily life being changed to practice daily. What came up for me about that one is that, well, understand, yes, we need to practice daily, having a meditation practice every day or whatever your practice is to come into the stillness, the oneness, the one point. There's many ways to do it, and so this is one. But however, practice in daily life, I think, is really a little bit different than just practice daily, because this is what I've earnestly been praying for, is to be able to practice in my daily life. When I'm cooking, when I'm serving my husband, my daughter, when I'm doing the bookkeeping, especially at my desk, how can I really integrate this sense of being in the one point all the time? And I really understand a little more, I hope a little more, that the actual physical practice of Aikido is helping us to do that, because it's making us pay attention as we're moving, as we're, connecting with each other, as we're in the dojo. And so that physical practice of paying attention with your movements will then hopefully apply to our physical daily movement practice in our daily lives, not just when we're sitting on the meditation cushion.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Well, that's the principle for sure. And by the way, thank you for the very nice introduction. Nice things you said. Not about me, That's not the benefit is being together with everybody. And this is an opportunity that really the universe has offered us to come together like this. If it weren't for COVID-19, this wouldn't be happening, I don't even know about Zoom. Nobody, I think, knew about Zoom, or not many people. And no one I knew, no one ever brought it up to me. So this is so nice of you to say. And I'm glad you enjoy the discussion and sitting together like this. But it's all of us together that makes it strong and powerful, not me. So let someone else. I'd like to ask Olaf to say something, please. Olaf Schubert from Rodgau, Germany.
Good morning, Sensei, or good evening.
Yes, good day to you.
Good day. Yeah, interestingly, the same point stood out to me. The difference between practicing in daily life and daily is actually what came up in our class this week also. That often we make a difference between what we do here practice in the dojo and then what we do out there in life, as if the dojo and out there life are two different things. And when we are in the dojo, we are not in our life and outside is life. So I think this line of thinking is already setting up the problem.
Yes.
Very similar to the workplace, where the HR departments and some self-help gurus make us believe that we need to have a work-life balance, as if work and life are two different things. And this is a line of thinking that is the whole problem in itself. So I very much like the change to practice daily.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, that's very insightful. I like that. For sure, you can see why he said practice daily. Not making it something else, just practice all the time. That's what daily means, practice daily. Great, thank you very much. I like that. How about Toby Vogels? Can you say something, please? I know you knew I was going to call on you today, right?
I had an idea, yeah. I'm struggling at the moment, Sensei, as you know, and struggling with the maybe the fact that my head is full with a lot of information, and I cannot place it. I cannot. It's like the experience that I don't know how to say it. There's too much thinking going on at the moment. So too much trying to figure out what it means and how it, instead of actually experiencing it or being in the experience. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's great the way you say that. So this too much thinking, too much not being in the experience means trying to figure something out. That's what you said, trying to figure something out. But where did all these ideas come from? What is all that stuff that's filling your brain? Where are all those ideas? It's so simple. Just how to help others. That's nothing to figure out. You know exactly how. So all the time, you know, we've been conducting these classes, maybe a good way. So since we're talking about learning here, so we're all in the process of learning, right? So a good way to learn from these classes is to just let them lie there and not try to, I do want you to come to class. I do want you to read the transcripts. I do want you to watch them whenever you want to. But the reason for that is not because I want to fill your head with a whole bunch of things. How can you even keep up with all the transcripts I send you, right? No, because there's one central message, you know? What is mind-body unification really? It's self-other unification. It's subject-object unification. It's coming together. Toy Sensei told us again and again, the purpose of our training is to be one with the universe. That's when the mind and the body, the self and the other, the subject and the object, we say my body like it's an object, the subject and object disappear. So training in the dojo, like Olaf was just saying, and training in daily life disappear. There's only one thing. And that is the principle that all of this is built on. And when you're one with the universe, with everything, then your concern is for everything. And it stops being with trying to figure something out, because that's for Toby. Or if I'm doing, that's for me. I'm trying to figure out something for me. I'm not thinking about them. I'm not thinking about all these people in this room with us. I can't afford that because you're all here. I have to think about you. I have to be, my concern has to be supporting you, unifying with you. Don't you think so?
Yes, Sensei.
That's just something to think about. We love you, and we love that you're here. So thank you very much.
So I wanted to address the point of the changing the subconscious mind, which is the one for me that is the deepest field of where it talks to me about different things, and one of them is that I think our subconscious mind is made of kind of our DNA, who we are from way back, and I want to know. I mean, it's not that I want to know. I would like you to talk about this more in depth, because what it means really to change the subconscious mind of a human being that is made of everything we've learned since we are children and before.
So what exactly is the question? What is your burning question about the subconscious mind?
Well, my question is, I mean, it's hard to express, but it's, do we try to change who we are through that subconscious mind?
Yes. Okay. Thank you. That's a good question. And that is a question that stumps us often when we're in the process of learning something new. Am I going to have to give up something that I cherish to get this something new that I want? Of course, that's very selfish thinking. You're only thinking about yourself. Am I going to get? Am I going to have to give up to get? Now, what kind of a bargain am I striking? The actual changing of subconscious minds means that things stop dominating our life that used to dominate our life, and new things begin to have power and influence over us. So naturally, things get left behind, and new things enter into our lives. And this is evolution. This is just naturally evolution. That's how everything works. That's how change takes place. But when we think of it like, am I going to have to give this thing up, to get this? That's kind of a false supposition, because you can't give anything up. Even
that's not what I meant, Sensei.
Just bear with me.
Yes.
Yeah? So we can't do it consciously. You can't do it on purpose. All you can do is pay very close attention every moment to what's happening And by paying attention, we will see more clearly. And so what goes in the subconscious mind is more clear than what went in when we weren't paying attention. That's why I always say that we really only have one choice to make, and it's to keep on point or not, to pay attention or not, same thing. Every moment we're paying attention, plus is going in our subconscious mind. Every moment we're not paying attention, we're just being a tool of something that has control over us and is running our lives. And then that itself strengthens itself in our subconscious mind. I think maybe understanding, yes, understanding this process is very important. Very important. It was very important to Toy Sensei. He taught about subconscious mind constantly, telling us to change subconscious mind. Like he would use examples like, if you want to quit smoking, stand in front of the mirror before you go to bed at night and say, I am not a smoker. I am not a smoker. And go to bed. And some morning you wake up and you're not a smoker. So, I mean, that's a rather, that's like almost insulting in its simplicity. And it doesn't really cover the subtleness that's required of us to really change our subconscious mind. It's not just making a vow or making a promise or making a statement. It's in every little moment, every tiny little moment, seeing clearly what's happening, as clearly as we can, of course, whatever is occurring. And that is what's changing our subconscious mind. If we're paying attention, it's becoming clearer. If we're not paying attention, it's becoming more smoky, more dark, more opaque, more difficult. So that's why even when we're really struggling, we always say, come to the dojo anyway. Don't stay away when things are tough. When things are tough, come to train, because that's when you're going to put all that garbage in your subconscious mind. But if you bring it to the dojo, then you'll be putting plus in your subconscious mind. Like if you have a problem that you're struggling with, come to the dojo. Get together with me. Get together with the Aikido. Get together with your subconscious mind in a positive way. I think that covers it. There's a lot, but I think that. Okay, thank you very much, Joelle. I'm so glad we were able to connect.
Yeah, thank you, Sensei.
This Zoom. Carlos Boyer, can you say something, please?
Thank you, Sensei. Good evening. It seems that it all comes down to this decision that we have in each and every moment. This decision to keep one point, this decision to pay attention or not. And, it really seems important to me that this particular one starts with be open, because it's not just like a once and done deal. Be open. Okay, I'm open now. I move on to the next ones. Right? It's something that, as you mentioned a moment ago, every moment I need to open. And this is a real struggle, at least for me. Like if I get in that harvesting mode, what can I get out of this? To recognize that I'm not open in that moment, that I'm not practicing in that moment, that I'm not paying attention. So maybe you could say something about that, but I very much, it just struck me just listening to everything tonight, how important that first one is. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, this reminds me always of when I think about being open in every moment. I always think about Osairu. we have this phrase. Suzuki Sensei liked it a lot. Most Aikido people don't use it, but Toi Sensei used it a lot. Osairu means really to cover or to hold. But we use it in Aikido meaning to embrace or to include, to open to. And the thing that is remarkable that I learned from Suzuki Sensei about this is if when you see someone in the grocery store or in your neighborhood or in the wherever coming toward you, and you think Osairu, it's too late. It's not going to happen. Oh, I must Osairu this. I must no. It's either it's got to be recognition. It's got to be organic. In other words, it's got to be in our subconscious mind. So just like when I recognize, oh, there's Carlos, in exactly the same way, with the same immediacy and the same like automaticness, I cover you, I include you, I embrace you. And this includes the person that just tried to run you off the road, not just your friend Carlos. But for me, it has to include, you know, the crazy people in the Costco parking lot. I mean, it has to be, that's just what I think of because it's kind of crazy there sometimes. And usually you have to go there with full intention to practice, but you can't tell yourself to do that. I mean, it's either there, here, or it's not here. And it's either in here already, or it's not here. He used to teach the police, and he would tell them this again and again. You think you can come here for 2 weeks? And I will show you something. And in a moment of crisis, you'll use it. Well, forget it. You have to train for years for this. And they're all looking at each other like, well, why are we here then? To hear him say that. That's why they were there. To make them appreciate, you know, what it takes to be a mature, useful, helping, supportive human being. And these are kids mostly, of course, in that class. Cadets, they call them. You know, 21, 22, 23 years old. Yes, thank you very much. It is our challenge. But I do want to just emphasize one more time too, that being open means being supportive. I mean, it means paying attention to whatever is here. And right now it's you, and everybody here, but it's also the being aware of the Zoom situation. And, you know, it's also more and more, including in the room here. And each of you have the same experience. Okay, one more person. Is there anyone who wants to say something?
Hi, Sensei, Vernon.
Oh, okay, Vernon, hi.
Hi. On number 5, on have a mind of instructor, is instructor also learning and supporting by the student, or the student is also a supporting the instructor?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Is that what you're asking? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's very much supporting the instructor. If you folks weren't here, I wouldn't need to be here at all. So you're definitely supporting in that way, but also the more you pay attention, the more you keep one point, the more you are in this moment that we are experiencing together, the more fulfilling it is for me. We talk about like good students and not so good students. So the better students that the teachers like most are really the ones that are really paying attention, because they're understanding and they're growing and they're developing And so there's a symbiotic relationship that's happening. That is, so that means I'm learning more about how to support. Well, so maybe, you know, do you remember I told you the story about Otsuka Sensei? And so maybe I want to take that back. He said, he taught us that he was a terrible student when he was young. And that's what makes him a really useful instructor, because he learned patience from Toi Sensei. He learned that, and I was a terrible student too with Suzuki Sensei, certainly for a lot of the beginning years. And that was very helpful to me. So let's just say that all students, not just the good ones, are very, very good for us as instructors, because we learn to be supportive even when there's no reward coming. Oh, this one really gets it. This is great. No, we don't need that. We shouldn't need that. So I have to take back what I said. I think that's the part of me, and it's a very real part, you know me, wants all of the students to be great students, and wants all the students to really grow and develop. But in some sense, that is very selfish of me. So please excuse me for that. I'm learning to be supportive of everyone, no matter what. Thank you, Vernon, very much. And thank you, everybody. Domo arigatou gozaimashita.